In 1977, Gunpei Yokoi was sitting on a bullet train on his way home from work. He saw a businessman play with numbers on an LCD calculator. The inspiration for a portable gaming device hit him. During his time with Nintendo, he had a successful toy lineup including an Ultra Hand and Love Tester, so Yokoi had the trust of Nintendo. Before the company were fighting Universal Studios over Donkey Kong, Yokoi designed the Game & Watch, an LCD screen game that also worked conveniently as a watch. Released in 1980, this was the genesis of portable gaming right here. Now, take a look at the Donkey Kong Game & Watch. Believe it or not, this was the first ever directional pad in video gaming. And look at the design of the whole thing. Looks like a Nintendo DS. Needless to say, the Game & Watch was very successful for Nintendo, creating nearly 60 different models and selling over 43 million units worldwide in its 12-year life cycle. In 1986, when the NES was released in North America, Nintendo and Yokoi went to work on a portable version of the system codenamed Dot Matrix System. In 1989, the Game Boy was released in Japan and the US, and 1990 in Europe and Australia. The button layout is similar to an NES controller, so you felt right at home. There's a volume changer, the sound is in stereo, and it has a headphone jack. There's also a cable link to connect two Game Boys together for multiplayer like Tetris. The system uses 4 AA batteries, the screen is puke green, it has no backlight so you can't play in the dark, nor did the games present themselves in colour. Portable power! But Yokoi used his lateral thinking of withered technology, as those drawbacks resulted in a higher battery life and a cheaper price tag. In the US, it cost $90 and the battery life was around 10 hours. Rival portable systems like the Atari Lynx and Sega Game Gear barely compared. When you combine this with having the Nintendo licenses including Mario, Tetris, Zelda, and Pokemon, it's no wonder the Game Boy was a smash hit. It was one of the first portable consoles to use interchangeable cartridges, and they were all in grey except for maybe Donkey Kong Land. The Game Boy had everything going for it in 1989. It had Mario for the kids and Tetris for everyone. How many times have I said the word Tetris now? It's because this was the game that came packed in with the Game Boy after Minoru Arakawa saw it at a gaming expo and thought, yep, perfect. This will be the pack-in title for the Game Boy. And he's right. Tetris is one of the best puzzle games I've ever played next to Portal. Creating lines with shapes, it's simple, addictive, nothing to criticize. The mobile version has been downloaded nearly 500 million times, and I'm not surprised. The Game Boy came with plenty of accessories including the camera, transfer pack, and aforementioned multiplayer link cable. But the most notable accessory was the Super Game Boy, a cartridge peripheral that can play Game Boy games on the TV using the Super Nintendo. A lot might notice the sound pitch levels being higher than usual. I think it's because the speed of the game was increased, but otherwise it was a great novelty playing Game Boy games on a TV, until the Game Boy Player was released. Throughout the years, there were different Game Boy models released in its life cycle. The Game Boy Pocket was Gunpei Yokoi's last Nintendo system after he stayed with the company longer thanks to the failure of the Virtual Boy. Yokoi left Nintendo in 1996 to form his own company called Koto Electronics, which released the Bandai WonderSwan. Then he was tragically killed in a car accident 1 year later. The Game Boy Pocket is practically half the size of the original Game Boy. It took 2 AAA batteries, the screen was bigger, it had less green, it came in a variety of different colours, and it fits in your pocket. There was also a version of this called the Game Boy Light which had a backlit screen, but that was only available in Japan. Really, this is just a smaller version of the Game Boy, like a slim PlayStation. In 1998, the Game Boy Color was released so that developers had more time to work on Project Atlantis, aka Game Boy Advance. This was the model that got me into the Game Boy. I don't know why they bothered to name this model Color, because there's less of it than it's humanly possible. Same with the cartridges, they're mostly transparent, which kind of perplexes me. Was it too much to have the Mario Golf cartridge grass green? At least the Pokemon cartridges were color coded. There were a couple of games that used motion sensors like Kirby's Tilt and Tumble. It has twice the processing power and 4 times the memory, but it still has no backlight as you can see. It plays just like the other two models with its button layout and backwards compatibility with original Game Boy games. It runs on 2 AA batteries that can run for about 10 hours. It is a Game Boy Pocket with color pretty much. So looking at all the systems, they're outdated because today we look at the Game Boy as an 8-bit gaming brick, and now we have HD portable gaming on our phones. But every single model was a good one for their time. The Game Boy was handheld gaming for 2 generations, and Nintendo continued to dominate in that market. The Game Boy revolutionized the gaming industry. The Pocket made it easier to carry, and the Color added more processing power and much needed color. Not to mention, quality games continue to be released like Pokemon. Anyone who's watching this video would have had at least one Game Boy in their lifetime. The idea of having a video game with you, whether you're going on a trip or waiting for something, we really take it for granted. Even though rival systems had color and a backlight early on, the Game Boy was a juggernaut in the portable video gaming market in the 90s, selling over 118 million units worldwide in its 13-year life cycle. Nintendo followed it up with the Game Boy Advance. It dominated just as much. And it all began when Gunpei Yokoi witnessed a businessman playing with numbers on a calculator inside a train. Now if you'll excuse me, I have some Pokemon Crystal to play.